Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. No shortage of things to talk about today, so I want to jump right into it with my guests today. We have, of course, in the House, we have Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, the Dallas County GOP chair. And by the way, I just did an event with you guys. Yes. You guys are a lot of fun.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah. So anyone who's in the Dallas area who has not gotten involved with the Dallas County GOP yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. This guy's a blast.
I don't know if I go that far.
Listen, don't let this demeanor fool you. He's still a blast. Also joined by Jason Buttrell, chief researcher of the Glenn Beck program. Yesterday we talked about what's going on with Donald Trump and, well, I should say, the United States and Canada. And there is this trade war that is heating up. And so now we have today, in response to President Trump's 25% tariffs imposed on both steel and aluminum imports, Canada's finance minister, Dominic LeBlanc, announced 25% reciprocal tariffs to begin Thursday. That is tomorrow, March 13th. Here is some of that announcement.
Today, I am announcing that the government of Canada, following a dollar-for-dollar approach, will be imposing, as of 12:01 a.m. tomorrow, March 13th, 2025, 25% reciprocal tariffs on an additional $29.8 billion of imports from the United States. This includes steel products worth $12.6 billion and aluminum products worth $3 billion, as well as additional imported U.S. goods worth $14.2 billion for a total of $29.8 billion. The list of additional products affected by counter tariffs includes computers, sports equipment, and cast iron products as examples. These tariffs are in addition to Canada's 25% counter tariffs on $30 billion of imports from the United States in response to U.S. tariffs put in place on March 4th. In addition, we learned yesterday that the United States tariffs would also be imposed on steel and aluminum content in certain derivative products. The government is currently assessing this aspect and may impose, of course, further tariffs in response to this measure as well.
So, I guess they've already suspended the "we're going to shut off your electricity" threat, which lasted, 12 hours maybe. But now you have this back and forth. And I just want to make sure that we put this in full context, that this didn't start until President Trump said to Mexico and Canada that both the southern and the northern borders need to be secured. And if you don't, I am going to engage in this, trade war, tariff war with you. And so I feel like that is important. It was brought up yesterday. And I feel like that is important to bring up whenever we talk about this, is that, you could say, well, Donald Trump shouldn't have done that. But who started it really? Because the flow of fentanyl into this country is kind of a big deal. Illegals coming in through our porous border on both the south and the north is kind of a big deal. We need to do something. So if not that, then what? So now you have Canada flexing their muscles, saying we're prepared to, well, I say muscles like very loosely. It's like weep, weep, whoop, whoop. And so now they are giving very tough talk on all of this, this trade war. Colonel.
Well, first and foremost, I think people need to go back and remember the lesson from the Soviet Union. You should never get into an economic battle with the United States of America. Mm-hmm. It's going to end up going bad for you. The other thing is that when you look at Canada and Mexico, it was just last week when Mexico brought a lawsuit before the Supreme Court to penalize gun manufacturers to the tune of $10 billion because, quote unquote, our gun manufacturers are the reason for the violence of the cartels in Mexico. So it's this kind of tomfoolery and chicanery that's going on that Donald Trump has come in and said, enough of this already. You know where these fentanyl plants are in Mexico. Why are you allowing them to exist? You know these routes that people are taking in Canada to come across our border. Why don't you, do more to secure that border? And again, Canada and Mexico do not have the economic legs to get into this fuss and this fight with the United States of America.
Yeah.
We had a former ATF official on our show, maybe today on Glenn's radio show, that was talking about that specific allegation that Mexico's levying on us about the gun manufacturers and all that. And he said that's a total deflection, total bullcrap. They're absolutely deflecting, probably because half their government officials are on the take from these cartels as well. That's a dumpster fire over there. But speaking of dumpster fire, I'd just like to say, as politely as I can, F Canada. I look through I was just curious. I've looked into like EU tariffs on the United States, and they have tariffs on us going back to Reconstruction after World War II. They're still in place.
So glad you brought that up. We have a list.
Okay, well, good. And if it's Canada, it's long.
Yeah.
Because I was just looking through, I was using AI to like compare tariffs from like EU all over the world that they put on US goods. And I expected EU to be the worst because of Reconstruction. It's Canada. Canada is the worst by far, way more than anybody else. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yep.
Why is our northern neighbor screwing us this hard on trade? So I'm big on, let's stop the, illegal immigration, the terrorists coming across, fentanyl, everything. But let's not minimize how bad this like trade imbalance is. It's insane, and screw Canada.
Well, exactly right, because all of this, they want to clutch their pearls is all totally manufactured because of the point that you just brought up. You guys have had super high tariffs on so many of our products for literal decades. And the one moment that we come out and say, hey, you know what? Fix the border or we're going to put tariffs on you. They're
Gosh.
What?
Yeah. Like, what?
How dare you? Oh, how could you? It's like you guys, let's see, 298% on butter. Okay. 270% on milk, 245% on cheese. Over in poultry, 238% on chicken, and similar rates on other poultry products. Eggs, 163% on eggs, 94% on wheat, 69.9% sausage. I mean, the list goes on. You can 45% on cars, consumer electronics, 45% as well. So it's like, okay, spare me all of your righteous indignation about Donald Trump.
It's unrighteous indignation. And the thing is, when you look at all of these countries that are saying, we want access to your markets and don't bother us. Let us come in and do whatever we want. But, here are all the obstacles we put in front of you to be able, Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson has a 100% tariff to go into India. So a $30,000 motorcycle becomes $60,000 to go in India. This is silly. So I know that there are a lot of people out there that are concerned about free trade. I like free trade, but it has to be fair trade also. Yeah. So the thing is that if you want to do this to us, then we'll meet you at that level. But wouldn't it be great if you all say, hey, look, let's just go to zero. And let's truly have open trade and free trade amongst ourselves, and let's make sure that consumers are the ones to come out on top.
Right.
But to continue to have this incredible trade imbalance that we have, Donald Trump wants to get our economy back strong. And this is one of the critical aspects of doing that trade imbalance and also the debt that we have.
And to the Colonel's point, where they don't have the economic muscle to compete with us on this, it's just all like, it's bluster. It's all fake, machismo on their end, because you don't have a strong economy if your next door neighbor, you're lobbying 300% tariffs on stuff.
Right.
Like you don't. Like you are that terrified of anyone else introducing goods into your economy that you have to put 300% tariffs on them.
Yeah.
Like, just take a look at what you give us.
Right.
And then tell us, how much of your own oil do you refine yourselves? Very little.
Yep.
We do the vast majority of it.
Yep.
So by all means, Canada, continue. Let's see how far this will go. It's going to be funny.
But on that note, I mean, I do think that we don't need to lose sight of the fact that if Canada controls electricity for 1.5 million American homes, that's not a smart decision, in my opinion.
Well, it's just the same as look at all the outsourcing we send to China.
Exactly.
And I think that's the real long-term vision here is let's get more of our production and manufacturing and to include energy here in the United States of America. I think that's what President Trump is trying to say. Come back here to America and do all of these type of things.
Right. Well, and you mentioned, Colonel, you're for free trade, but you want it to be fair trade. And I would say, I mean, unfair trade is not free trade.
No.
Right? I mean, so they have to be one and the same. In order to have one, you have to have the other.
Yep.
With that. And so with some of this, I fear that, and I thought this going into it, that some of this is going to get worse before it gets better in some aspects, because Joe Biden, the Biden administration got us into such a hole. Now, some of it I've been pleasantly surprised at. Like, you see CNN going out today having to admit that inflation is way down, and
yes.
Turns out egg prices are down. Now, President Trump's full plan, trying to take care of the genocide of chickens that the Biden administration, of course, did, is still going to take some time to fully implement. But you're already seeing egg prices down. Gas prices are dropping. I mean, you're already seeing the effects. But on some of this, I am like, you guys are going to need to give him some time, especially with the trade stuff. You guys are going to need to give him some time, because some of the maneuvers that he has, you're going to need to let play out in order for all of this imbalance to be balanced again and to course correct. But the liberal media will just be like, oh my God, Donald Trump made prices go up.
Yeah,
and
like they cared for all those years when Joe Biden was up there. But the other thing that we have to do is we have got to have some, we used to call in the military, stick-to-itiveness. We just don't have that. And so when you look at the Dow Jones and you look at the stock exchange, they go day to day. Mm-hmm. But that has been the pitfall of America. We do everything day to day, or we do thinking in election cycles every 2 years, every 4 years. We're up against people that think 25 years, 50 years, 100 years. You go back and remember when we all of a sudden gave China most favored trade nation status. Why? Okay, we thought that would change their behavior. No, what they understood is that we'll inject ourselves into the world economic atmosphere, and we will become a tick. Mm-hmm. And we'll just suck off of them. And look at what has happened now. And look at what they're doing, using capitalism to further communism and the exploitation all across the entire globe and build up their military.
Yeah. And by the way, manufacture our medication.
Yes.
Life-saving medications we get manufactured in China. How screwed up is that? What could possibly go wrong? And by the way, it's been 5 years now since COVID, and nobody has done anything to fix it, even though back in 2020, when all the supply chain shut down and everyone was like, oh, we probably shouldn't have this stuff manufactured in China. It's 5 years now, guys, since that's happened. Have you guys done anything to fix that? No, nothing. Just wait for the next time and then still do nothing. So I agree. I mean, it's nice to see someone doing something against these countries that, Canada's not necessarily an enemy, but China's not our friend.
No.
They're not our friend. And we're just outsourcing all of this stuff out to them for no apparent reason. It does not make sense. Boggles the mind. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. We will be back with more. But first, we want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Mobile. So I love the people over at Patriot Mobile. Glenn's story and Jenny's story, you know them.
Oh, yeah. Great people.
They're some of the most amazing patriots I have ever known. And Glenn is just the most fun. He's the life of the party. And by the way, totally sober. He's just always just the life of the party anywhere he goes. And what the good folks over at Patriot Mobile are doing is they are providing the same nationwide service that you would get with any other, any of the three big mobile companies that are taking your money and then funding left-leaning causes. They're actually putting their money where their mouth is. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. And they are providing you with the same nationwide service. You can keep your number. You can get a new one if you want. You can keep your phone. You can get a new one if you want. You can set it up however you'd like. And they are taking a portion of that bill. And instead of funding the left, they're actually funding causes that you care about. They are constantly at all of these grassroots, organizations, all of these grassroots conferences, events that are taking place around not just Texas, but the country. We see them all the time. And they are really, really supporting conservative causes. So if you want to also put your money where your mouth is, go to patriotmobile.com/Sarah. And by the way, you may even find that they save you money with their plan. So there's no reason not to go check them out. patriotmobile.com/Sarah. You'll get a free month of service with promo code Sarah. That is patriotmobile.com/Sarah. So on the show, we've talked several different times about the idea that it's really crazy to have an election in November and give the prior administration, knowing that they are out the door, 2 and a half, really, full months to just do whatever they'd like, cover their tracks, burn, shred documents, whatever they'd like to do. They know that they have enough time to get things done. And so you are, we're talking about why do we do that? That seems like a messed up system. That seems like a system where you're just asking for people to try to cover things up. And so you had yesterday a senior official at USAID sent an email to nearly 36 employees that said, "Good afternoon. Thank you for your assistance in clearing our classified safes and personnel documents from the RRB. The event will take place all day tomorrow, March 11th, beginning at 9:30 a.m. Please meet at RRB." Okay. And then it talks about, where to go. And it says, shred as many documents as possible first. Reserve the burn bags for when the shredder becomes unavailable or needs a break. If you need to use the burn bags, do not overfill and ensure the burn bag can be closed with staples at the top. And then it goes on to talk about, the burn bags, the labeling that's required on the burn bags. If you need additional burn bags or Sharpie markers, because I guess there's a lot of writing and burning that they're planning on doing. You may need additional Sharpie markers. Please let me or the SEC InfoSec team know. Thank you so much, Erica Carr, acting executive secretary. And so I just, we can talk about, let's talk about who this person is. Joe Biden personally named Erica Carr acting executive secretary of USAID in his first week of office. She also worked with Obama. She worked with Obama at USAID in June 2009 with him, and also served as special agent in the Office of Personnel Management from 2007 until 2009 under Obama as well. And so you have these people that I think that it's important to point out. There is great work that has been done, but there is also much more work to be done. When you're not talking about just the heads of these agencies that are the deep state. We're not just talking about an RFK Jr. or a Tulsi Gabbard or a Kash Patel. We're talking about at every single level of all of these agencies, there are these appointees that are still there. The acting executive secretary of the USAID is still an Obama Biden girl. There's a lot more work that needs to be done, and we need to do it quick. So, we can talk about whether or not this was this treason? Was this all on the up and up? I don't know. But the fact remains that if we have acting executive secretaries that are leftovers from Obama and Biden, we've still got a lot of house cleaning to be done here.
Tons.
Yeah.
But that's the root issue of the bureaucratic administrative state. People call it the deep state. And that's why I think what Elon Musk is doing is so important, and that we need to reduce the impact of these bureaucrats that have been up there so long. And again, speaking of, ticks, that's what they have become. And they see their world being upset. In the military is real simple. The guy comes in for the change of command, and, you get on board with his policies. If not, you're gone. So I think that what we need to do, because we're no longer at that level in politics in America, where people still, they want what's best for the country. Republican, Democrat, whatever. And there was some congeniality, I guess you could put it that way. You probably need to have a transition team that can immediately go into some of these agencies and start, I hate to say it, but keeping an eye on some of these people in that 2.5 months. Because you think about Joe Biden, all of a sudden he's saying, yeah, go ahead and shoot ATACMS missiles.
Exactly.
Into Russia. Oh, here's a 5-year contract where federal government employees don't have to come into work.
Yep.
They should not have any more of these major political decisions, foreign policy decisions they can be making.
And to your point, I'll add one more. It was in that 11th hour that he decided that he wanted to change the CBP One app, which is now CBP Home. Go home. We don't want you here. To change the CBP One app that you didn't even have to check in with a person. You could just on your phone, you're like, boop, I am who I say I am. I'm checked in. I'm here. Don't worry about it. And he changed that at the 11th hour too, just to add insult to injury to make us less safe. So it really is dangerous having these people still, in charge of things and in the building and burning and shredding documents as well.
It's like USAID, their official statement on what their purpose is very benign. It's just to help spread, American, soft power across the world. Well, if that truly is the case, then why are you doing a late night burn session on secret documents? What are you worried that, and keep in mind who they're afraid of right now. They're afraid of the current president's administration finding this stuff out. Yep. They're hiding it from him, which is absolutely criminal. Yep. Absolutely criminal. Their whole purpose for like an organization like USAID now, I don't think it was originally designed to do what it is doing now. But
you don't think it was designed to promote drag shows in Peru?
Exactly.
What you're saying?
Or force.
You have the audacity to say that, Jason?
The audacity. I'm clutching my imaginary pearls, right? Or forced sterilization projects in South America, which is exactly one of the things they worked on. Woodrow Wilson and the Progressives built a system during the Progressive era, specifically designed to what's happening right now with the bureaucratic or deep state. Now, what pissed them off was this thing called the U.S. Constitution. It severely limited how they could fundamentally transform, to use the words of another, progressive of the modern era, Barack Obama, fundamentally transform this country. Now, they knew they could not do it because of the U.S. Constitution. So they created the bureaucratic state to go around the Constitution, to do things amongst themselves, unelected bureaucrats. We didn't elect them there, but they're doing their own thing regardless. That is what USAID became. It's a part of that bureaucratic system to specifically illegally go around the Constitution and do whatever the hell they want. So they operate like a quasi CIA or whatever else they thought was, they thought that they had the mandate to do at the time.
Right.
If you look at some of the documents of some of the craziest stuff going on around the world, you'll see USAID money in every single one, usually partnered with a major progressive organization like George Soros. Every single time.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, I mean, we do look, there's good news in this. We have Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who has impressed me more than I thought he would. I was not sure how I felt about it. And so far, I mean, again, it's been like 50 days, so there's a lot of time to go. But I feel like he's been pretty solid thus far. And so he just recently announced that after a 6-week review, they are officially canceling 83% of the programs at USAID. The 5,200 contracts that are now canceled spent tens of billions of dollars in ways that did not serve, and in some cases even harmed the core national interests of the United States, which I think is very key to all of this, because you had President Trump saying, halt all this money, and you have these activist judges who are coming out and saying, no, you need to release the money to all of these foreign countries. I, this activist judge, have the right to tell you, the literal commander-in-chief, the top officer in the executive branch, that you may not have control over this, which is bonkers crazy to me.
It is.
I could not believe when I saw that. So now at least, well, I mean, I guess we'll wait for the lawsuit, but I'm fairly certain the Secretary of State has the ability to cancel the damn contracts.
It was crazy when that judge wrote that. There was not even a published decision on it. It was just because I say so.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah. What happened to interpreting the law? It's very simple. The first sentence in Article 2 of the United States Constitution says, executive power shall be vested in the President of the United States of America. So he's in charge of the executive branch. And the thing that people aren't saying, he's not going up on Capitol Hill and saying what needs to happen with the legislative branch. He's not going over there to the Supreme Court and saying this is what you need to do. No, he's saying, I am the chief executive, and this is how this executive branch will run. But, it's not just these activist judges and these district judges. Amy Coney Barrett and John Roberts joined with the loons. 5-4 decision to prevent him from being able. So again, who are these people? I mean, does she not believe that the chief executive has executive power vested in him as the president of the United States of America? That's what they're supposed to do, interpret the Constitution. Justice Alito wrote an incredible dissenting piece on that. So, we've got some folks that, Donald Trump appointed her
I know
to that position.
And she's been a disappointment.
Big time city limits.
Yeah, I totally agree. I also, sometimes I like to extrapolate. Okay, let's pretend this is the private sector, right? Like let's say if we're using the same logic here, you're telling me that a CEO of a company doesn't have the ability to cancel a contract. Someone would look at me like I was crazy, right? The head honcho of a company can't go and say, no, stop sending this money to this place, to this, designated place. Like, that's crazy to think. And now somehow we have this system where they're like, no, you can't make those top level decisions. Like, what?
It's also indicative of how they see the bureaucratic state.
Yes.
It's no longer underneath the president, under his command. It's separate. It's a new branch of government.
Yeah, it is.
That is above everything.
Yep.
It's above the judiciary, the executive, everyone, and you can't touch it.
And see, the thing is, understanding the appropriations process. Once you appropriate the money to the government, the executive branch, they are allowed to spend it however. The only time they have to come back is if they say, we need a supplemental. We need these additional funds, for an emergency or for whatever contingency. But if the government, the executive branch is saying, we don't want to spend all the money that you appropriated, that's well within their purview to do that. And again, I don't understand where the left thinks they have an argument when it comes to this to say, we don't want you to spend less money. We don't want you to reduce the size and scope of the federal government.
Or root out fraud and corruption.
I mean,
so crazy.
Even Van Jones said, we're screwed. I mean, who is coming up with their messaging?
I know. Let's see. AOC, Jasmine Crockett.
Oh, yeah. It's not illegal to do an illegal thing.
Yeah.
I thought the definition of illegal was you're committing a crime.
Right. She's like, well, it's not a crime.
Hey, Sarah, here's the deal. You and I, join it. Let's all go to Jasmine Crockett's place and just walk in.
Yeah.
And if she calls the police, say, hey, there's no crime here.
It's not a crime.
We can just walk into your house.
Breaking and entering is not a crime.
It's not a crime.
No, please. Entering illegally, it's not a crime. Okay. Yeah, I know. It's like, so these are the people, but we'll go to break here in a second. But I mean, I think that just demonstrates how much Trump broke them because they just know how to double down on the Trump rhetoric. They can't course correct when it comes to something like this. They can't look at what just happened in November and go, oh, the American people voted for America first. The American people voted to secure the border. The American people voted to root out all of this waste, fraud, and corruption, because as much as all of these blowhards on the mainstream media like to say, oh, America didn't elect Elon Musk. I mean, I kind of did, because Donald Trump put him on stage at multiple rallies and said, I'm going to have this guy right here head up the Department of Government Efficiency. We knew that was all baked into our vote when we went to the ballot box in November. So it's like we voted for all of this and they can't process it. All they know how to do is double down and just like, I can't believe that Donald Trump would be rooting out waste, fraud, and corruption. How dare he? It's like
he's doing what he said.
Yeah, right. What people voted him in to do. And so I just watch it and I'm like, please keep doing this. Please keep this energy up. This is beautiful for the American people to see what you guys are really about. You guys will never win another election again if you keep this up, I think. I don't know. We got to get Jasmine Crockett out of here, by the way.
Jolden Daniels, you need to have him on your show.
Yep, I would love to. I would love to. I need to talk to him about, actually, I saw that I'm getting off track here, but I don't care. I saw on, y'all go follow his X account, Jolden Daniels. He had some interesting donations come in to Jasmine Crockett from a 75-year-old gentleman in Collin County who let's just say it doesn't seem like those numbers really add up. So I'm hoping that he digs into that, because something like, $16,000 in 1 year from one person at one residence who appears to be retired not in her district, I don't know, just seems a little weird. So I hope we get to the bottom of that. And I would love to talk to him. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. We will be back with much more. First, we want to thank our sponsor, My Patriot Supply. So My Patriot Supply is there for those of you who understand the importance of being prepared. And if you don't understand it, you need to, okay? Because you've seen what happened during COVID, all right? Disaster strikes, grocery store shelves go empty overnight. You can't even find toilet paper in the times of COVID. But the point is that you can't plan for an emergency. There's no planning for it. It might happen, it might not. But when it happens, that's not the time to get all of your stuff together, okay? The time to get it together is before it happens. You can do that with your food with My Patriot Supply. They've got their 4-week emergency food supply right now on sale of 4 72-hour food kits. If you order it with the 4-week emergency food supply, you'll get those completely free. That's 2 weeks almost of bonus meals at no cost. They've got these kits that come with, over 2,000 calories per day, delicious, easy to prepare meals that last up to 25 years. And you might think, 25 years, that stuff must be disgusting. It's not, actually. It tastes delicious, and you're going to be happy when you're in an emergency and you don't go hungry. And by the way, it ships in a very discreet package so that when you do have an emergency, your neighbors aren't like, hey, I saw that emergency food supply shipment come to your door. Can I have some? No, it's just for me. Go to preparewithsarah.com to claim your kit, plus an extra 12 days of food for free over at preparewithsarah.com. Did you guys see this congressional hearing that happened yesterday that had to be adjourned very quickly because Texas Representative Keith Self, who's from Texas, he was the committee chairman, and he introduced the trans Delaware representative who goes by the name Sarah McBride.
Sarah's. Hey, what?
The Sarah's with an H, okay?
Oh, okay.
All right. It's the extra letter. That, by the way, those of you who are named Sarah and have an H who are watching the show, love you guys. You guys are great. So he decided to follow the rules that Speaker Mike Johnson had set up and introduce this person the correct way, and chaos ensued after that. Watch.
I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking Member Keating, also wonderful.
Mr. Chairman, could you repeat your introduction again, please?
Yes, we have set the standard on the floor of the House, and I'm simply.
What is that standard, Mr. Chairman?
This guy really thinks he has a
Would you
This is
repeat
Bill
what you
Keating.
just said when you introduced a duly elected representative from the United States of America, please?
I will.
Is that McGovern?
The representative from
It's,
Delaware,
Bill
Mr.
Keating.
McBride.
Okay.
In Massachusetts.
Mr. Chairman, you are out of order.
So mad.
Mr. Chairman, have you no decency? I mean, I've come to know you a little bit, but this is not decent.
We will continue this.
You
hearing.
will not continue it with me unless you introduce a duly elected representative the right way.
Bye.
This hearing is adjourned.
Yep.
So good.
Ridiculous.
So good.
First of all,
yeah.
you don't pick a fight with a guy that's a special forces ranger, master parent. You just don't do that. Okay, over pronouns. Give me a dadgum break.
I
I don't think he was intimidated, by
Yeah.
his outrage.
Mr. Chairman, duly elected. Would you like to do that again? Sure, Mr. McBride. Yes, come on, Mr. McBride. Yeah, I'll do it as many times as you'd like. Sure, I'll keep repeating myself. I'm not changing it for you. Oh my gosh, so beautiful to
Best
see.
way to handle that. The
Yes.
absolute best way. Do not give in to that stupid bull crap. Don't pay it any mind. Just
Well, the thing is, if you're in the sandbox of insanity, I don't have to jump in there.
Yep.
And I think that's what Congressman Self just showed. And without a doubt, that moment's going viral all over the place. And I would come to believe that his campaign coffers are going to increase immensely.
1,000%. I got a chance to talk to him over at my Congressman Brandon Gill's swearing in celebration, and he's a really great guy. Yeah. He's been super solid. And I'm very listen, you got the Jasmine Crockett's and then you have the Keith Selfs. So you choose your fighter, Texas. Choose your fighter here.
I wonder what MSNBC is going to say about him.
Yeah.
You know it's coming.
That he's transphobic and homophobic and so unprofessional and disrespectful.
Look, bottom line is this. You either got a choo-choo train or a tunnel. He just called it as he saw it.
I've never heard that.
Might be simple in the airborne.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but I mean, it's so crazy how just an election can just like that just reverse all of the insanity that we've been dealing with for so long. I mean, it's just like, nope, the light's off. We've closed the door. We're out of the darkness. We're back in a sane world where we're just going to call things like we see it because this is a dressed up like a woman and Mr. McBride. And I'm just going to say it. And you can have all sorts of feelings about it. And that's for you to solve. But I'm not going to change the truth for you because you have hurt feelings about it. It's just the truth.
What's disappointing is it took so long for America to actually get to that point. Yeah. Like, when did we become the society of compliance? You know what I mean? Like, this irritates the crap out of me. And some of the worst is like you go to New York City, and I expect people there to be, you expect New Yorkers to be assholes because that's who New Yorkers are. But now they're calling you the a-hole. You know,
really?
I went to
They were definitely assholes when I was there, but it's been a very long time.
But yeah, I guess now it's just like assholes, not because like it's, I can say whatever I want. It's because you will do what you have been told. By the higher ups. I went to New York, and I was with some people that went to a lot of Broadway shows, which I cannot stand. But we went to one. Was
it Glenn Beck?
I will not say who it was with. But we went to one show in this theater, and there was only one bathroom, and it was for both men and no, that's not how they said it. It was, what do they call it? They said
unisex or
for everyone or whatever.
Oh.
Like, I swear, I walked up. There was a urinal right next to the sink, and there was a woman washing her hands in the sink, and I was like, "This is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to do." So I was literally at a urinal on the wall, peeing next to this lady that was trying to wash her hands.
No.
And then I ran back to the people I was with. I was like, to all the women, do not go in there. You don't know who could be in there. It was insane. That's the insanity. It was the end result of this.
Imagine you can't imagine because you're not a woman, but like as a woman, I'm like, I can't even imagine going in to just, go to the bathroom really quickly and then go back to watching Phantom of the Opera after I just saw a dude at a urinal like that.
Weighing everywhere,
Just be like, all right, back to this lovely Broadway show. Just saw a penis in there. That's fine. That's so crazy. Well, it's not even just that. It's the biological males in women's sports. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Right? And it's just like that. We're just done with it.
They're not.
Well, you're right.
They're not.
Right.
And I just don't think they got the memo.
No.
This is a 95-5 issue, and they want to stay with the 5%. And so I do believe they will drive themselves into political exile.
Die on that hill. Go for it.
Yeah.
Don't ever win another election. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, love that.
Every single county in the United States swung toward. It was like Republicans gained.
Yeah.
Popular vote, we got it. Every single swing state, we got it. Mm-hmm. That's why they're trying to figure out, like, news organizations and all of them that are on the left. They have no idea what to do right now. Absolutely none.
Yeah. Well, but that's also why you see snakes like Gavin Newsom, who are like,
I'm in the middle.
Moderate now.
Yeah, like, what?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
2028's around the corner. This trans thing may have gone a little crazy. Like, okay, Gavin, we don't believe you. But he's probably the only one who, I mean, do you respect the trying? I don't know that I do. I just find him to be just such a snake and just such a chameleon.
He's running. He's absolutely running.
Totally.
1,000%.
I mean, why else would you have Charlie Kirk on you? Well, Charlie, can you give me some advice? Join the Republican Party.
Yeah, exactly. Vote conservative. And then I think he had Steve Bannon on today or the other day or something.
Oh, wow.
Which I was shocked to hear that Steve Bannon agreed to go talk to him. I was on with Sean Spicer, and he asked me would you sit down with Gavin Newsom? And I was like, Yes, I would. Yeah. I would make sure that I had enough time to actually physically pull receipts, because anytime he sits down and talks to someone, he just lies about something that's easily disprovable if you have the time to go pull it. So I'm like, yes, but I would come with a stack of papers that were all organized. And when I was, I would ask him or call him out on something and he would say, that's not true. I'd be like, yeah, it is, buddy. And that's the way that I would handle that. But yeah, it's been funny watching them try to fight for
real life interview with a vampire.
Yeah, exactly.
He is a blood-sucking leftist.
He is just I mean, there's almost something that's respectable about someone like, I'm trying to think, like maybe a Bernie Sanders, who I actually believe, like he believes in what he is preaching. He is an ideologue. And there is something respectable about that. Gavin Newsom, I'm just like, you just lick your finger and stick it up to the wind, and whatever is politically advantageous is what you believe in. And there's just something so disgusting about that, that I'm like, you'd be better off with I mean, I don't want to give him any ideas, but all right, let's go ahead and let's take a quick break. And then when we come back, I want to talk about who the most recent celebrity is that we lost her. We lost her. She's gone. We'll be right back. Do you guys remember Rosie O'Donnell?
A League of Their Own?
Do I want to remember Rosie O'Donnell?
Unfortunately, I do remember Rosie O'Donnell is the answer. Well, yesterday she announced, yes, we lost her. No, she didn't die. She's just moving because Donald Trump is president and Orange Man bad. Watch.
And I'm here in Ireland, and it's beautiful and warm. Not physically, it's actually quite cold. Moved here on January 15th.
Aged her.
And it's been pretty wonderful, I have to say.
Great.
The people are so loving and so kind, so welcoming.
Great.
And I'm very grateful. I'm in the process of getting my Irish citizenship, as I have Irish grandparents. So I was never someone who thought I would move to another country. That's what I decided would be the best for myself and my 12-year-old child. And here we are. Here we are. I miss my other kids. I miss my friends. I miss many things about life there at home. And when, it is safe for all citizens to have equal rights there in America.
What rights do you not have?
We will consider coming back.
What rights do you not have? I wish they would just name one. You always hear that talking point, but I haven't heard what the right is that you're saying that you don't have. That never comes after that. So now I want to know.
The right to have totalitarian control. That's what they want.
That is that has to be it.
That's it.
And it's like, oh no, I'm so sorry that Donald Trump is cleaning up the streets, arresting violent criminals, deporting violent criminals. Did you see that inflation graph from today on CNN, Rosie? That's going way down. Yeah, it's terrible that he's like eliminating fraud and corruption from the government, saving Americans' tax dollars, and
enlistments are up in the military.
Yes.
We're capturing ISIS terrorists that killed our folks in Afghanistan.
Yes.
That's just bad.
Right. According to them, that's bad news. You got to get your 12-year-old out of here now. I mean, it's just crazy the way that they think. I want to play. This couldn't have been more perfectly timed because Rosie O'Donnell just put out this announcement, which is one of those things that people are like, nobody asked, Rosie. Nobody cared. But OK, thank you for the information. We'll mock you for it. We had Ireland's Prime Minister, Michael Martin. Mikkel, I don't know how you say it, but he visited the White House today. And Brian Glenn, White House correspondent Brian Glenn, who has just been tremendous. He's a friend of mine. He's a really good guy. And he has been asking all sorts of great questions. He asked the Ireland Prime Minister about Rosie O'Donnell moving to Ireland. And here was that exchange. Watch.
Ireland is known for very happy, fun-loving people, great attitude, many in this room right now that I've met. Why in the world would you let Rosie O'Donnell move to Ireland? I think she's going to lower your happiness level.
It's true. Thank you. I like that question.
Mr. Prime Minister, are you expecting?
Do you know who she is?
Yeah. I'm joking.
You better off not knowing.
There's just something so charming about that level of candidness that you just have to love. Do you know who Rosie O'Donnell is? You're better off not knowing. So a troll right to the very end.
I literally haven't seen or heard from Rosie O'Donnell since I think it was the 2016 campaign when Trump won. But they had a little back and forth and Trump just utterly destroyed her. It was so bad. And then she just completely went away. It's like he shot her off the map. And now she comes back, of course, because she just can't stand, that they literally thought that this was, I think that they all just believed this was a shoo-in election for them. They all just believed they were going to win.
With Kamala?
Oh, yeah. Kamala's going to win. It's crazy. If you look at like the movies that are starting to come out now that were shot, back then, just before the election and during the election, a lot of the movies are like, going in that direction. Like they just assumed they were going to continue to win. They were that out of touch with, American society and where things were going. And now they're just completely lost. They're absolutely going to come back. That's what pisses me off about these celebrities. Like she's going a little bit further, how she's actually trying to get citizenship. But all these celebrities, they never mention the 4 other houses they have, 2 on the East Coast, a couple on the West Coast. Oh, and they all have something up in the mountains in Colorado or New Mexico. Every single one of them. So are they really leaving? No, they're not. They just had the money to live wherever they want to live because that's them.
Okay.
Because America's been so good to them.
Yes.
I found it. Rosie O'Donnell's 12-year-old child is non-binary. Born as Dakota is now Clay.
12?
12-year-old who is non-binary.
Okay, that's good. Rosie's not in the country because she should be arrested. That's all her fault. Seriously, that's child abuse.
12-year-old.
12
a 12-year-old. And it's not safe for this 12-year-old because, President Trump has made sure that her 12-year-old will not be sterilized by puberty blockers and irreversible procedures. Right. And she doesn't like that because she believes in harming her child and committing child abuse. So, and you know what? I hear that she will fit in quite well in Ireland when it comes to those types of policies. So good riddance. Don't come back. I hope you don't come back to your little log cabin or whatever you have that Jason was talking about as well.
Little house on the prairie.
Yeah, don't come back to your little house on the prairie, Rosie. The prairie hates you, all right? We don't live like you do. Before we have to go, I want to get your quick thoughts on this. Senator Jeannie Shaheen from New Hampshire is the latest to announce she's not seeking re-election. This is a Democrat, this now makes 3 Democrats from key swing states who announced they're not seeking re-election in 2026. Senator Gary Peters of Michigan and Senator Tina Smith from Minnesota. What do you think? Do they see the writing on the wall?
They see the writing on the wall. They know that the bloodbath will continue because, like I said, they haven't moderated, they haven't changed, they've quadrupled down, and they're not going to be successful.
I love it. We love to see it.
What do you run on? Who do you reach out to? What message do you use to reach out to your constituents? They have no freaking clue.
None.
And I mean, they're going to have to shift back towards like the party of JFK. They're just going to have to. Can they now since they went this far? I don't know.
No.
I'll have fun.
You think the AOCs and the Jasmine Crockett's and the Cori Bushes of the world are going to be okay with them shifting back to the JFK era? Of course not.
How irrelevant are they now?
Yeah.
You barely ever say. I like seeing pictures of AOC. But
Shut up. Shut up.
There was this bill that her and Anna Paulina Luna were working on together, and I was like, was this directed towards me? Is this for me? It's like, who did this?
It was actually just for Jason Buttrell.
Thank you.
I did get
girls. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I got the official notice that it was for you, Jason. You're welcome.